Here, let me see that map. Here's Zockentool.
As I remember, it should be on the left. And I don't remember.
It is. And here's Braymore.
Should be on the right.
It is. So, where in the world are we?
Well, what's in the middle?
Nothing.
That's where we are.
In nothing?
Yes. And for a fellow with my potentialities, this is the ideal location. We'll find our way out when the sun comes up.
Fine bunch of game hunters we are. Come all the way out here from New York, and the very first night out, we get lost.
Maybe we took the high road instead of the low road. Would you like a drink?
No, thanks.
Good. Leaves more for me.
Wait a minute. Didn't you say you were going to give up some of that stuff?
Yes, I did. But I'm a terrible liar. Besides, it just doesn't pay. I remember once I was going with this girl, and she used to plead and plead with me to give it up. So one day I did. But then we discovered we had nothing to talk about. So we broke up.
You know, this forest gives me the feeling of being in a cathedral.
Well, if we were, I'd know the way out.
You don't believe in anything, do you, Jeff?
Sure I do.
Oh, really? What?
Anything that's real to me. You know, anything I can touch, taste, hear, see, smell, and swallow.
But what about the things that you don't understand?
I dismiss them.
That must make things really easy.
Comfortable is the word.
I envy you, Jeff.
Why?
You just seem so satisfied.
I am. Aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Now that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Why, you've got a fine job, you're engaged to a fine girl, and you're lost in a fine forest. What more could you possibly want?
I don't know. Just everything seems to be going wrong, especially with Jane and me. That makes everything seem to go wrong. You've seen how long I've postponed getting married. Just can't get myself to that altar.
I don't know what could be wrong about it. She's young, attractive, and fits right into your niche in life. And on top of that, she loves you too, and just the proper amount.
What's the proper amount?
Just enough to make you happy, and not enough to embarrass your friends.
Looks ideal, doesn't it? And why don't I see it? I must be lacking somewhere.
Now, don't start talking yourself into an inferiority. You don't deserve it.
What do you mean?
Well, most of my friends who have inferiority complexes are absolutely right. They're not as good as everyone else. But someone like you who...
Wait a minute. Did you hear that?
Uh-huh.
Look over there.
It looks like a village.
It is.
But I thought you said there were no towns listed on the map around here.
I did. Look, there's a strange heavy fog all around here.
There's no mist in the valley.
Just around the village. Well, hey, it can't be too far from here. Come on, Jeff, let's go.
Wait till Rand McNally hears about this.
candy here. Come over to Sandy's booth. I'm selling the sweetest candy here that ever shook loose at. I eat it myself and there's no doubt it's creamy and good and thick. So laddies, I hope you'll buy me out. It's making me kinda sick.
There's nothing to do but sell it all. The cow and it take it back.
Good day, Archie.
And good morning to your two bonny daughters.
Good morning, Mr. Beaton.
What would you be looking for, Miss Fiona?
For a waistcoat. For my father. For the wedding.
Oh, why, of course. Ye and young Charlie Dilrup will be getting married this evening, won't you, Miss Jean?
Aye, Mr. Beaton.
Well, if you had to marry someone other than my son Harry, glad it was a lad as fine as Charlie.
Aye, Mr. Beaton.
You must be happy as a lark in the glen.
Aye, Mr. Beaton. You see, Mr. Beaton, Jean is just a wee bit short of words today. Father says I shouldn't talk too much. He says when I speak, I sound so happy that he finds it annoying.
Is that what you said, Mr. McLaren?
Aye, Archie. Besides, when a lass gets married, she needs to get used to listening and not to talking.
Oh, I don't think that Charlie will have much trouble with Miss Jean here. She's a good maiden.
Aye, the old maidens are good. So tell me where all the bad wives come from. Friends, Mr. Lundy has written upon this parchment a few reminders. And he asked me to hang it here in the public square where you can all see it and be reminded. This is the second day of our blessing, and this is to remind ye of the obligations we have so gratefully accepted. So I'll hang it here in the public square, like I told Mr. Lundy I would.
Your father likes to take charge of things, doesn't he, Miss Fiona?
Aye, he does. And especially after everything's been done. Would you have a waistcoat of this that would fit him?
Oh, yeah, I think so, Miss Fiona.
Hello, Harry.
Hello, Jane.
How are you today?
And how do you expect me to be? It's your wedding day, isn't it?
I'm truly sorry, Harry.
Well done, Emily. If anybody's going to pity me, let it be me. Trapped forever without you in this peasant village. Well, what did Angus say, Harry? I forgot.
Hello, Harry.
Hello, Fiona. It just isn't fair for Charlie Dalrymple to be wedding Eugene. He's got everything. School in Edinburgh and now ye. And I've got nothing. Harry, here. Take this material to the house and see if there's a waistcoat of it there. Nothing but to be doing this all my life. And why don't you pay attention to Maggie Anderson? You know she has a yearning for ye. Aye, Father.
Oh, Fiona, I feel so sorry for him. I know, darling. Oh, Mr. Beaton, you didn't hate me for not loving Harry.
No, Miss Jean. It's not your fault. Sometimes I think the only woman that could have ever loved or even helped Harry was his mother. Rest her soul.
Come, Jean, we shall spend the day with your father. And Fiona, you'll be sure to buy all that's needed for the wedding supper.
I will, Father.
Good. Oh. And remember, just what's needed. My intention on this occasion is to be hospitable, not philanthropic.
You'll send the waistcoat to the house, Mr. Beaton.
Hi, Miss Fiona.
Good morning, Meg.
Good morning, Fiona.
A jug of cream, please.
Mr. McGuffey will be pleased as the last buying for a change.
Why?
Well, when the lads come shopping, they look so handsome I didn't like to ask them for their money.
Well, you'll never make a profit doing that.
No, but I'll make a lot of friends. Is this for the wedding tonight?
Aye.
Fiona, when are you going to think about marriage for yourself?
Oh, when I meet someone who makes me think of it.
And you haven't met anyone up till now who make you think of it?
No. You see, I didn't want to just get married. I think you should only do it when you and your lad want to stay together fiercely. And getting married is the only way you can think of to do it. That's proper.
That's an unusual idea, Fiona.
Many a lassie, as everyone knows, 'll try to be married before 25. So she'll agree to most any proposal. All he must be is a man and alive. I hold a dream and there's no compromising. I know there's one certain laddie for me. One day he'll come walking o'er the horizon. But should he not, then an old maid I'll be. Foolish ye may say, foolish I will stay, waiting for my dearie, and happy am I to hold my heart till he comes strolling by. When he comes, my dearie, one look and I'll know I believe that there's a laddie weary and wandering free, who's waiting for his dearie, me. What do you do while you're waiting around for your lad to come your way? Well, when no one is looking, you kneel on the ground and you pray and pray and pray. But when lassies sit and have no men, oh, how long becomes the night? But I fear the night is longer when the lad's not right. Waiting for my dearie is sweeter to me than wooing any laddie on the lea. That's how I am and how I'll ever stay. Though I live 40 lives till the day arrives on the tower of the green. For my hopes will be high that he'll come strolling by. For you see, I believe that there's a laddie weary and wandering free, who's waiting for his dearie,
Hello.
Could you tell us where we are?
Of course we can tell you. You're in Brigadoon.
Brigadoon?
Aye.
But there's no town called Brigadoon on the map.
Well, shouldn't you be surprised?
You mean you know it's not on the map?
Aye.
It's a little snobbish of you, don't you think?
Why isn't it on the map?
For good and sound reasons.
What are you all dressed up for? Is this the day you take pictures for postcards?
We're not dressed up.
You mean you always go around with all those clothes on?
No.
Now wait a minute. What's going on here? Can somebody tell me what is all this?
We're having a fair.
Oh, is that milk you're selling there?
Aye.
Well, could I buy some? My friend and I have been walking around all night long, and we're very tired and thirsty.
I'll have to see the money first.
What?
What'd you give him? A hunk of uranium?
I just gave him a shilling. What a loony layout this is.
It is very interesting, sir, but it does me no good.
It does you no good. Well, sell me something and it will.
I'm sorry, sir. I cannot say anything. If you're thirsty, I'll give you some milk.
No thanks. I don't want any favors.
I see from the coin you're from England.
No, we're from America.
You're Americans?
I am. He's from Georgia. Come on, boy.
No, wait! We didn't mean to act so strangely. We're just a wee bit taken aback. People didn't come here very often.
Well, I can see why. You all look at us as if we'd walk in from another planet or something. Does that amuse you?
Aye, very much.
Quiet, Meg.
Obviously the daughter of 2 first cousins.
If you've been walking around all night, you must be tired and hungry. When you like some food and perhaps a place to lie down before you start back.
Thank you. That would be very nice.
Good. Oh, my name's Fiona McLaren.
And I'm Tommy Albright. And this is Jeff Douglas.
How do you do, sir?
And I'm Meg Rocky.
I'm glad you're happy about it.
There's a little tavern on the next street where you can get some food.
I'll take you to it.
Oh, go ahead, Jeff. I'll make sure to call the inn first.
Excuse me, sir. But is Miss Meg gonna be taken care of, you, sir?
I think so. Why?
Well, I have some plaid trousers here. And after you leave the tavern, if Miss Meg should take you someplace to rest, and you should happen to rip your own on a thistle, I'd be more than happy to replace them for you.
No thanks, old man. I don't expect to get stuck.
You didn't know it, laddie. But you're stuck now.
You tend to your selling, Mr. Beaton.
What a place. Is there a phone around here?
A phone?
Yes, a phone.
I didn't think we have one.
No phone?
No, sir.
Well then, tell me, what's so strange about this place?
Nothing, sir. You're the one who's strange.
Johnny, here's a bottle of ale. Have a dram of good luck with me.
Why, the merry bridegroom himself.
Bridegroom?
Aye.
Good morning, darling.
He's marrying my sister this evening.
Oh,
Good morning to you, sir.
good morning to you.
Charlie, I'd like you to meet Mr. Tommy Albright. He just happened in a wee while ago.
What? Oh, of course. Welcome to you, sir.
And welcome to you.
Here's a dram, Charlie. Thank you, Angus. And to you, sir.
Thank you.
I think I'll drink this one to Mr. Forsyth. I just hope he knows how grateful I am to him for postponing the miracle for him.
The what?
And may God bless me this evening as much as I would bless him if I were he and he were Charles Dowra.
What was that you said about postponing a miracle?
'Tis a toast we have here.
Drink it down. I'll explain it to you sometime.
Say, that's pretty good. May I have another?
That was a wedding gesture, sir. From now on, just for sale only.
I have to buy some ale for the supper. If you wait here, I'll be right back.
Fine.
He's an odd lad, isn't he? Aye, he has a peculiar accent. I wonder what a mannequin woman must be like. I didn't wonder about women anymore, Angus. I'm not allowed to. Why, that's right, Charlie. You're through with the lasses for good, aren't you? I used to be a roving lad, a roving and wandering life I had. On any lass I found who would try to tie me down. But then one day I saw a maid who held out her hand, and I stayed and stayed. And now across the green, I'll go home with Bonnie T. Go home, go home, go home with Bonnie T. Go home, go home. I'll go home with Bonnie T. I used to have 100 friends, but when we were wedded, the friendship ends. They never came to call, so farewell to one and all. Farewell to all the lads I knew. I'll see them again when they're married too. For now across the green, I'll go home with Bonnie T. Go home, go home, go home with Bonnie T. Go home, go home. I'll go home with Bonnie T. In Edinburgh I used to know a lass with an air, and her name was Jo. And every night at 10 I would meet her in the glen. But now I'll not see her again, especially not in the glen at 10. For now across the green I go home with Bonnie T. Go home, go home, go home with Bonnie T. Go home, go home. I'll go home with Bonnie T. Hello to married men I've known. I'll soon have a wife and leave yours alone. A bonny wife indeed, and she's all I'll ever need. With Bonnie G, my days will fly, and love her I will till the day I die. For now across the green, I'll go home with Bonnie G. I'll go home with Bonnie G.
You will not forget to come over and sign the family Bible this afternoon.
I'll be over. Are you going to stay for the wedding supper?
I'm afraid I'm not going to be here that long.
'Tis a pity.
What are we going to do all day, Charlie?
Rest, dearie, rest.
He's a nice kid.
Aye, he is that.
It's wonderfully refreshing to see a young man so excited about getting married.
Is it so unusual?
I think it is. I mean, look at me. I'm not exactly bubbling over like Charlie. And next month, I'm facing the minister.
You're getting married?
Yes?
Oh,
Oh, what?
I'm very surprised. Somehow you didn't look like the sort of lad who'd want to settle down.
I didn't say that. I just said I was getting married.
Well, if you feel that way about it, why are ye?
Because the woman wants to.
Is that reason enough?
Yes, I don't know how you do it here in the Highlands, but in my neighborhood, if a lady decides that she wants to get married, you might as well go ahead and agree right away and save yourself a whole lot of trouble.
Why?
Because if you don't, she'll torment you so you'll do it just for relief, and she'll be so sweet about it, you'll feel guilty and your conscience will make you do it.
I must say, it didn't sound like you love her very much.
It doesn't, does it?
And it sounds like a very peculiar land you come from.
Well, pardon me for saying so, lass, but this isn't exactly the Hammond off the highway either. What was that Charlie was saying about postponing a miracle?
Oh, that. I'm sorry, I cannot say.
Well, why not? You said you'd tell me later.
I know, but I cannot say.
That's fine. I suppose if I stick around here long enough, I'll find out that most of the people in this town are nutty. Is that possible?
I cannot say.
Well, why not?
Because I didn't know what nutty means.
It means slightly insane.
Well, I can assure you we're all far from insane. We're a most blessed group of people, and I didn't realize how fortunate we were until I met someone from the outside. I mean, a stranger to Brigadoon. Now, I didn't know anything about ye, but from everything you've said, everything you think, I think differently about. And I'm quite sure that what I think is much more, well, pleasant. Now, I'm sorry I said all that, but you angered me so when you called us insane.
Hey, you don't like me very much, do you?
That's the odd part. I like you very much. I just didn't like anything you say.
Fiona,
I?
if I stayed around here tonight, would you take me to the wedding supper?
Why do you suddenly want to go?
I can't say.
Well, then I'll take ye, and I'll be highly pleased you'll be there.
You will? Why?
Like I said before, I like you very much.
That's right. You did say that, didn't you?
Now I'll show you some place where you can lie down and rest.
Well, but where are you going to go?
To gather some heather for the wedding.
Well, where do you do that?
On the hill, where the heather is.
Well, can I go with you?
No, I'll do it much faster alone.
Fiona, maybe I'm the one who's slightly nutty, but... Can't we two go walking together out beyond the valley of trees, out where there's a hillside of heather, curtsying gently in the breeze? That's what I'd like to do. See the heather, but with you. The mist of May's in the gloaming, and all the clouds are holding still. So take my hand and let's go roaming through the heather on the hill. The morning dew is blinking yonder. There's lazy music in the ring.
And all I want to do is wander through the heather on the hill. There may be other days as rich and rare. There may be other springs as full and fair. But they won't be the same. They'll come and go. For this I know, that when the mist is in the gloaming and all the clouds are holding still, if you're not there, I won't go roaming through the heather on the hill. The heather on the
You see, Tommy, you can say nice things when you want to.
It almost sounded like I was falling in love with you, didn't it?
Oh, I think there's a difference between falling in love and just being sentimental because you're tired.
Is that what I am? Sentimental because I'm tired?
I believe so, but 'tis very agreeable. The mist of May is in the gloaming, and all the clouds are holding still. So take my hand and we'll go roaming through the heather on the hill. The morning dew is blinking yonder. There's lazy music in the rill, and all I want to do is wander through the heather on the hill. There may be other days as rich and rare. There may be other springs as full and fair, but they won't be the same. They'll come and go. For this I know, that when the mist is in the gloaming and all the clouds are holding still, if you're not there, I won't go roaming through the heather on the hill. The heather on the
What's that?
We have a storm here every now and then. We'll get my basket and we'll be off.
It's a very picturesque view of the glen.
Thank you.
What for?
Why, for liking where I brought ye, it makes me very happy.
You get happy very easily, don't you?
I?
Why, I haven't been in an open shed like this since I was a boy, which at this point seems a good 2,000 years ago.
You mean you're tired?
Aye, lassie, I'm very tired. That's why you brought me here, isn't it? So I could take a nap?
I shouldn't think a long walk would fatigue a young lad like ye.
A young lad?
Aye, you're very young.
That's either a deliberate lie or wishful thinking. I am ancient, decrepit, and disintegrating rapidly.
Aye.
What's under here? A rock garden?
My father used to sleep on it.
That was his second mistake.
He and my mother met in the shed. You see, my mother was a gypsy, and one day she was walking past this shed. She saw my father asleep on the cot. She liked his looks, and she was a wee bit tired anyhow, so she took off her shoes, sat in the rocking chair, and waited for him to wake up. And it wasn't long after that that I was born.
That's one of the sweetest bedtime stories I've ever heard.
Are you sure you're comfortable?
Yes. Very. You've been more than kind. And now, to round out your generosity, buzz off.
You're a brawling, handsome lad.
You should see me when I'm rested. I'm almost robust.
But I just hate to leave you.
But you better. I make all sorts of odd noises when I sleep.
Who told you? Do you have a wife?
No, but I was engaged once.
Well, what happened to the lass you were engaged to?
She fell in love with a Russian.
A Russian?
Yeah, a Russian.
But Russia's in Europe, isn't it?
Yes, more and more.
Oh,
Just cross the channel and take a left.
aye. You're a winning lad, a right winning lad.
Now look, lass, I'm not sure what you're after, but I don't want none.
But didn't you see? I'm highly attracted to you.
Thank you very much. And when I wake up, we'll discuss the whole problem. And believe me, you have a problem.
But I've been waiting so long.
Go.
Oh, you men are all alike.
Why, I should certainly hope
You're all
so.
brutes. You get what you want from a lass and then 'tis farewell.
Get what I want. I can't even get you to leave.
That's what I'm referring to. I thought you were interested in me, and that's why he let me bring you here. He misled me.
Could you give me one good reason why I, a strange man, should be interested in you, a very strange woman, and at this hour of the day?
Of course I can, because you're a lad and I'm a lass.
With that kind of philosophy, you must have had a very provocative career.
I've had a great many heartbreaks.
I don't doubt it at all.
At 16 years I was blue and sad. Then father said I should find a lad. So I set out to become a wife and found the real love of my life. His name, it was Chris, and the last was McGill. I met him one night picking flowers on the hill. He had lots of charm and a certain kind of touch and a certain kind of eagerness that pleased me very much. So there neath the moon where romance often springs, I gave him my heart and he gave me a ring. I don't know how long that I stayed up on the hill, but the moon had disappeared and so had Christopher McGill. So I went home and I thought I'd die, till father said make another try. So I set out to become a wife and found the real love of my life. He came from the lowlands, said he. I saw him and knew he was perfect for me. Just one thing that puzzled me, and it always will, was he told me he had heard about me from his friend McGill. We quick fell in love and went down by the creek. The next day he said he'd be back in a week. And I thought he would, for now how was I to know that of all the lowland laddies there was never one as low? I told my father the awful truth. He said, what difference? You've got your youth. So I set out to become a wife and found the real love of my life. Oh, he was a poet, a rhymer was he. He read me some verse he had written for me. He said they would move me, these poems from his pen, and how right he was because they moved me right into the glen. We stayed till the moon came and lighted the sky. Then I shook his hand and I bid him goodbye. I never went back, for what I had heard was true, that poet only writes about the things he cannot do. Now Paul said, look out for men who think. You'll be more certain with men who drink. So out I went mad to be a wife and found the real love of my life. Oh, he was a soldier, a fine Highland son. He told me about all the battles he'd won. He wasted his time telling me about his might, for one look at him decided me to not put up a fight. We stayed there for hours that night in the glen, and I found the sword has more might than the pen. But when I was drowsing, I snored to my dismay, and he thought it was a bugle and got up and marched away. My pa said, daughter, there must be one, someone who's true or too old to run. So I'm still looking to be a wife and find the real love of my life.
Jeannie's packing up, Jeannie's moving out. Jeannie's packing up, Jeannie's moving out. And all the girls, tonight away she goes. Jeannie's packing up, Jeannie's moving out. Jeannie's packing up, Jeannie's moving out. And all the girls, tonight away she goes. What with all the clothes, all the these and those, why do you suppose Jeannie never froze? Hangers for her nose, ribbons for her bows, cotton for her hose, slippers for her toes. Tonight Jeannie's packing up, Jeannie's moving out. Jeannie's packing up, Jeannie's moving out. And all the girls, tonight away she goes. Jeannie's packing up, Jeannie's moving out. Jeannie's packing up, Jeannie's moving out. And all the girls, tonight away she goes.
Hi. Hi, Charles McPherson Dalrymple. Tonight, the founder of a new clan. Where's Jeannie?
Upstairs.
You can't see Jeannie afore the wedding. It brings bad luck.
Really, sir?
Here, sign under the name of my dear departed wife. Come in.
I brought your waistcoats for you.
Thank ye. 'Tis good to see ye, Harry. Wait a minute, lad.
What for?
Why didn't you take my hand? I'm not your enemy.
You may not mean to be, but you are. So is everyone else in this town.
What is it, lad? Why do you go about hating everybody?
I couldn't have get through this day of seeing her marry someone else if I didn't. What can I do? What could anyone do but hate when they realize their life doesn't mean anything? I cannot leave here. I cannot go to the university and make something of myself, and I cannot have Jean. So there's nothing left for me to do but hate everything and everybody in this cursed town.
You'll never find any peace by hating, lad. It only shuts you off more from the world. And this is only a cursed town if you make it so. To the rest of us, it's a blessed place.
So you can keep it.
Well, all done. Who was that?
My waistcoat came.
Oh. Jeannie!
Charlie, please go away. I want to come out.
Didn't obey her, lad. You'll spoil her.
Charlie!
I can hardly wait for the wedding. Oh, Jeannie.
Charlie, please go away.
Because they told me I can't behold ye till wedding music starts playing. To ease my longing, there's nothing wrong in me standing out here and saying, oh, come to me, bend to me, kiss me good day, darling, my darling, 'tis all I can say. Just come to me, bend to me, kiss me good day. Give me your lips and don't take them away.
Charlie, please go away.
Come dearie near me so ye can hear me. I've got to whisper this softly. For though I'm burning to shout my yearning, the words come tiptoeing off me. Oh, come to me, bend to me, kiss me good day, darling, my darling, 'tis all I can say. Just come to me, bend to me, kiss me good day. Give me your lips and don't take them away. Come to me, bend to me, kiss. 'cause they told me I can't behold ye till wedding music starts playing. To ease my longing, there's nothing wrong in me standing out here and saying, oh, come to me, bend to me, kiss me good day. Darling, my darling, 'tis all I can say. Just come to me, bend to me, kiss me good day. Give me your lips and don't take them away.
Jean, aren't you going to greet our guest?
Greetings.
Greetings.
Fiona, where have you been? You know I cannot dress without you.
You mean 'tis almost time for the wedding?
Yes, I succumb.
You see, I knew we were out far too long.
I know, but I don't mind.
Wait for me. I shan't be but a few minutes.
Oh, Fiona.
Well, hello there, laddie.
Hi. Where have you been?
This is quite a place you have here. You should have seen the place I had earlier, complete with built-in lassie.
Well, come on in. Where'd you get the nice new pants?
Oh, I got him for the wedding. And another thing, disregard all that rubbish about Scottish frugality. Their generosity is overpowering. Well, how do you feel?
I've never felt better in my whole life. Maybe the sun gave me the power, for I could swim Loch Lomond and be home in half an hour. Maybe the air gave me the drive, for I'm all aglow and alive. What a day this has been. What a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love. All the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I could swear I was falling. I could swear I was falling. It's almost like being in love. When we walked up the brae,
A word did we say? It was almost like being in love. But your arm linked in mine made the world kind of fine.
it was almost like being in love.
Oh, the music of life seems to be
Like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal,
I could swear I was falling.
swear I was falling. It's almost like being in love.
Hand me the bundle of heather, Tommy.
All right, darling.
Darling.
Thank you, dearie.
Well, when do we head back?
I don't know. We got plenty of time. I mean, after all, how often...
What? What's the matter?
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little touched, but listen to this. Married, Elizabeth Lang to Andrew McLaren, July 2nd, 1719.
Well, what's so wrong with that? People used to get married back then.
Well, listen to this. Children, born Fiona, October 10th, 1722, and Jean, born April the 8th, 1728.
Well,
Fiona's 24, and she has a sister who's 6 years younger named Jean. Did you know that?
yes.
Well, that's the two sisters here in this Bible.
Ridiculous. They're probably just named after them.
Jean's getting married today. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Do you happen to know the name of the guy she's marrying?
Yes, they told me at the tavern. Some guy named Dalrymple.
Well, then listen to this. Married, Jean McLaren to Charles McPherson Dalrymple, May 24th, 1746. Now what do you have to say?
Congratulations.
Wait a minute. No Brigadoon on the map, no phone in this entire town, and thanks to Mr. Somebody for doing something about a miracle.
And that
One or two other things that I passed out this afternoon when I was out with Fiona.
that hyperthyroid I was with had never heard of Haig and Haig.
Jeff, I'm beginning to feel like a fool.
I don't know what you're getting so worked up about. Why, if it makes them happy to disregard 200 years of human hoopla, well, let them.
But I've just had the most wonderful day of my whole life. And now something like this happens. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
It does to me. It just means batty people relax you.
She's not batty. Fiona! There has to be a logical explanation for this, Jeff. Even logical enough for you.
They don't have to explain anything to me. I don't care.
Tommy, what is it?
Fiona, is this your name here in this Bible?
Why, yes, and... Oh.
Someone seems to have loused up your books.
Well, is there an explanation or isn't there?
Aye, there is. But I cannot tell ye.
Well, who can? I'd really like to know.
You'll have to speak to the Dominie.
The who?
Our schoolmaster, Mr. Lundy.
Well, where does he live?
Down the road in a tree.
He doesn't live in a tree, Mr. Douglas. Mr. Lundy is a great man. All right, I'll take you to him. I hadn't wanted to because I was hoping we could have this day together.
But what does that have to do with it?
What you're going to hear will be so hard for you to believe that you'll think there's something wrong with us and you'll leave. I know it.
Maybe I will and maybe I won't. Come on, Jeff.
Is it informal, or should I wear my three-cornered hat?
Come on! Wait, hello, Fiona. What a pleasant surprise.
Mr. Lundy, I'd like you to meet Mr. Tommy Albright and Mr. Jeff Douglas.
How do you do, gentlemen? How do you do?
Where do you
afternoon.
gentlemen come from?
Oh, we're from New York.
We're from New York.
Uh-huh.
Yes, New York.
I heard you.
Mr. Lundy, I was wondering if you'd be good enough to tell these gentlemen about Brigadoon. They've heard and they've seen a great deal, and they're very perplexed indeed.
Perplexed is right.
I would very much like them to know.
I would very much like them, to know.
Aye.
When ye be seated, gentlemen. How do you stand, Fiona?
Oh, if I may, sir, I'd love to hear it all again.
Of course.
Now, from what I understand, nobody can talk about anything around here except for you. Is that right?
No, that's wrong. Mr. Forsyth could have told ye.
Mr. Forsyth. You know, I think I've heard of him, but I don't think I've met him yet.
Likely not. I think he's dead.
I suppose that would stand in the way.
Let me warn ye, afore I begin, that what am I going to tell you, you wouldn't believe.
It's okay. We've already been warned, but why won't we believe it?
Because what happened in Brigadoon was a miracle. And most people didn't believe in miracles. Miracles require faith. And faith seems to be as dead as...
Mr. Forsyth.
Aye. Yeah. Now, if an outsider who chanced to come to Brigadoon were to hear the tale from the lips of someone in town, he'd think the lasser lad was daft. And that would lead to many unpleasant, humiliating things for the lasser laddie. Now, wouldn't it?
I suppose so.
I suppose so. So only I can talk about the miracle to strangers.
And you don't suppose anyone will think you're crazy?
Ye might very well, but it wouldn't hurt me. I just pity ye. Now, this miracle happened. Let's see. What's today?
Friday.
Friday. That means it happened exactly 200 years ago. 200 years ago, the Highlands of Scotland were plagued with witches, wicked sorcerers who were taking the Scottish folk away from the teachings of God and putting the devil in their souls. They were indeed horrible, destructive women. I don't suppose you have such women in your world.
Witches?
We still have them. We pronounce it differently.
Uh-huh. It didn't matter if they were not real sorcerers, for ye and I know there is no such thing. But their influence was very real indeed. Now here in Brigadoon, we had an old minister of the kirk named Mr. Forsyth, and a good man he was.
Oh, the kindest man in Scotland.
I believe he was. No man ever loved his parish as did Mr. Forsyth, but he was growing old, and it grieved him to think that one day soon he would leave all those so dear to him. But most of all, he worried about the witches. They hadn't visited Brigadoon yet, but he knew there was a band of them coming our way. So he began to wonder if there wasn't something he could do to protect the folk of his parish, not only from them, but from all the evils that might come to Brigadoon after he died.
What a kind man.
He spent many days walking through the glen, and if he had passed his house at any hour of the night, he would have seen the candles lit and Mr. Forsyth sitting in his chair, thinking. And then one day, he came to me and told me he had decided to ask God for a miracle.
This part is so nice. I could cry thinking about it.
He consulted with me about it because he knew I had a highly logical mind. And he figured as long as he was going to ask for a miracle, it might as well be a well-organized miracle. So for many days, I walked through the glen with him. And many nights, I sat with him by candlelight. And finally, Mr. Forsyth decided what he was going to pray for. And on an early Wednesday morning, right after midnight, he went out to a hill beyond Brigadoon and made his prayer to God. There in the hush of a sleeping world, he asked God to make Brigadoon and all the people in it vanish into the Highland mist. Vanish, but not for always. It would all return just as it were, for one day every 100 years. The people would go on leading their customary lives, but each morning when they awakened, it would be 100 years later. And when we awoke the next day, it was 100 years later.
My gosh.
You see, in this way, Mr. Forsyth figured there would be no change in the lives of the people. They just wouldn't be in any century long enough to be touched by it.
So what you're saying is you went to bed and you woke up the next morning and it was 100 years later?
Aye.
So every day equals 100 years?
Aye.
Well, what happened to the minister?
We never saw him again. You see, he realized that to ask for such a miracle, some sacrifice would have to be made, and he wanted to be the one to make it. Now, what would be the greatest sacrifice he could offer? It was to be separated afore his time from the ones he loved. So that's why he went out to a hill beyond Brigadoon. Were the miracle granted, he would never see Brigadoon again.
And this all happened 200 years ago?
Aye, lad, which ye see is only 2 days ago to us. He had intended to ask for the miracle on Tuesday, but Charles Dalrymple was in school in Edinburgh and not expected back till Tuesday late. Mr. Forsyth, not wanting anything to go wrong with the wedding, postponed praying till Charlie got back.
Wasn't that sweet of him?
Now, I'm not saying I believe all this, but let's just suppose that somebody gets fed up and wants to leave. Can they?
He cannot leave.
You mean I have to stay here now?
No, lad. But according to Mr. Forsyth's contract with God, if anyone of Brigadoon leaves, the promise is broken for all.
And?
And that night, when the people go to sleep, Brigadoon will disappear forever.
Okay, well, then let's just suppose that somebody, I don't know, like me, wants to stay. Could they?
Aye, lad. Mr. Forsyth provided for that.
He didn't miss a trick, did he?
No, lad. He didn't. A stranger can stay if he loves someone here. Not just Brigadoon, mind ye, but someone in Brigadoon enough to want to give up everything and stay with that one person, which is how it should be. Because after all, lad, if you love someone deeply, anything is possible.
I think I like that part the best.
Shouldn't you be thinking about changing for the wedding?
I had. Tommy, will I see you later?
Yes, I'll be there.
Thank you, Tommy.
I want to see if this town really disappears like you say it's going to.
I must hurry now. Thank you, Mr. Lundy.
She's a dear lass.
Yes, I'm finding that out. But, Mr. Lundy, are you perfectly happy here in this small town?
Of course, lad. After all, sunshine can peep through a small hole.
But at night, when you go to bed, what's it like?
Well, for me, it is like being carried away on shadowy arms to some far-off cloud, and there I float till morning. But sometimes, I think I hear voices.
Voices?
Aye. They say no words I can remember, but their voices filled with a fearful longing, and often I think they're calling me back. I've pondered it when I'm awake, and I think I have a feeling I'm here in the outside world. There must be lots of folk out there who'd like a Brigadoon. Oh, 'tis wedding time! We have no minister in Brigadoon now. In most villages, this would be a very calamitous thing, but we know 'tis a blessing. When there is no minister present, it is perfectly proper according to the laws of Scotland for two people to be wed by sincere mutual consent. There need be nothing in writing. All that is necessary is your promise of love, as long as ye both are on earth. Go ahead, lad.
I shall love you till I die, and I'll make all effort to be a good husband to you.
And so much will I try to be a fine and loving wife.
Well, kiss her, lad. Mr. Forsyth, I know, would have liked to be here. But if you'll both be good and true to one another, you cannot help but live in the grace of God. And Mr. Forsyth could have asked no more than that.
Are we married now, Mr. Lundy?
Are we married now, Mr. Lundy? Aye, lad, you're married.
All I've ever done was to want you too much. I'm leaving Brigadoon. Tis the end of all of us. The miracle is over. Harry Beaton, Harry Beaton. Run and get, run and get, run, ye men, or ye will never see another morning. Go and stop, go and stop, run, ye Highland men, or ye won't get another day. Beaton sure came this way, and we cannot be too far behind him, laddie. Search ye there in the bray. Keep your eye up, or ye will not find him, laddie. Go down to the peak, and by God, if I see him, I'll fill him in. Search the hill to the peak, find him, lads, or tomorrow will never, never come. Run and get, run and get, run, ye men, or ye will now another bell. Go and stop, go and stop, run, ye Highland men, or ye won't get another day.
You all go to the left, and you all go to the right. Can't be too far from here. If he comes into sight, hold him fast, many lives are depending on it. This must not end tonight. They must know that tomorrow is really gonna come. Run and get, spread your new women, and don't forget that time to be. Go and stop, go and stop. Highland men, or ye won't get another day. Lad, say a prayer, I'm afraid Harry Beaton is dead. Looks like he fell on a rock and he crushed in his head.
Nobody wanted for Harry to be smitten down. All that we wished was to keep him from leaving the town.
I understand. There's no sense for us all to be sad about it. This was clear, God's own hand. And we all should be grateful and glad about it.
Though it may be very true what the lad here has said, don't tell the rest till tomorrow that
Satan is dead. They'll find he's dead tomorrow. Tell him all is right. There should be no more sorrow on this wedding night.
I thought I heard a cry from over there. Well, Father?
It's all right. He was stopped.
Thank heaven. Was he hurt bad?
No, dear. Just scratched a bit. There's no need for grieving now. We must go on with the wedding supper. He didn't get away.
You didn't get away then, Mr. McLaren?
No. He didn't.
Then where's my son? I want to see him. I thank God that he stopped him from his terrible intention. But I want to see him.
He's all right. He's in good hands. Besides, it's best if you be left alone for now. Come back and join us for a bit this supper.
I'm too ashamed for him, Mr. McLaren. How can I join you?
Archie! Come, lads. Back to the glen for some food and ale. Go on, go.
Angus? Have you seen Tommy?
The American, Fiona? I didn't think he came back with us.
Come, Fiona.
Fiona?
Tommy! You might have gone.
I didn't go. I couldn't go.
And you're all right.
Yes, a little tired, but I'm all right.
I'd have died if anything had happened to you. I love you so.
You? But how can you be so sure in just one day?
I didn't know. 'Tis just when a lass falls in or out of love, she knows it right away.
I wish my emotions were that clear to me.
Why?
Because I have a sensation I'm hearing my own secret being told.
You mean you think you're in love with me?
What good would thinking do? If I were to think about it, it wouldn't make any more sense to me than the miracle. But what I feel is something else.
What do you feel, Tommy?
This is hard to say, but as I wandered through the lane, I felt for just a fleeting moment that I suddenly was free of being lonely. Then I closed my eyes and saw the very reason why. I saw a man with his head bowed low. His heart had no place to go. I looked and I thought to myself with a sigh, there but for you go I saw a man sitting by the sea, alone with the tide was he. I looked and I thought as I watched him go by, there but for you go I. Lonely men around me, trying not to cry, till the day you found me there among them was I saw a man who had never known a love that was all his own. I looked as I thanked all the stars in the sky, there but for you go
Tommy, darling.
I love you, Fiona, and that's all there is to it.
I wanted to hear you say it, even though it be at the last minute like this.
The last minute?
Aye. Soon now, 'tis the end of our day.
And then you vanish.
Aye.
But I can't leave you, Fiona. Not now, I can't. Didn't Lundy say that someone could stay here if he loves someone enough?
Aye.
Well, that's for me. Where do I go? Who do I talk to? Where do I get my passport to disappear?
Tommy! I think we'd better see Mr. Lundy.
I don't want to be without you ever again, Fiona. I'd be afraid to be. I saw a man who had never known a love that was all his own. I looked as I thanked all the stars in the sky, there but for you go I.
Then I will tell you about a wedding far more tough than this. The lad involved turned out to be no other than my pa. And by the strangest bit of luck, the woman was my ma. McGregor, McKenna, McGowan, McGraw, McBiddy, McNeil, McRae. All of the folk in the village were there on my mother's wedding day. For Pa had us to spend McBee, and Mac had come with May McGee, and May invited 93 to my mother's wedding day. Then up the road came Ed McKean with half the town of Aberdeen. At 4:45, everybody was there, waiting around in the room. McVicker, McDougal, McDuff, and McCoy, everybody but the groom. And as the hours turtled by, the men got feeling kind of dry and thought they'd take a nip or I while they waited for the groom. And as the men were dipping in, the lady started on the gin. Then all of a sudden the liquor was gone, the gin and the whiskey and all. And all of a sudden the wedding affair had become a bonny brawl. For Pete McGraw and Joe McBee began to fight for May McGee, while May McGee and Sam McKee were a-wooing in the hall. So cold and stiff was John McVeigh, they used him for a serving tray. McDuff and McVitie were playing a game and using McCoy for the ball. McKenna was eating the bridal bouquet and McNeil hung on the wall. When finally my father came, his eyes were red, his nose aflame. He didn't even know his name, he's the drunkest of them all. The people were lying all over the room, looking as if they were dead. Then Mother uncovered the minister quick and she told him, go ahead. Then Paul kneeled down on Bill McRae, and Mother kneeled on Jack McKay. The preacher stood on John McVeigh, and that's how my ma was wed. It was a sight beyond compare, I ought to know, but I was there. It's my mother's wedding.
Jeff,
Hi.
I'm not going back with you.
Just for the record, what are you talking about?
I'm staying here.
You're pulling my bonny leg, aren't you?
No, I've never been more serious in my whole life. I tell you, Jeff, in just one day, I feel more a part of her in this town than I ever did about anybody or anything back home.
My dear boy, that's because it is one day. But don't you realize that if you stay here, it's for always?
I know.
And do you know how long always is around here? It's one heck of a long time.
I know.
This can't be a trial marriage. You can't change your mind after 600 or 700 years.
I won't ever want to.
How do you know that now? How do you know that there's never going to come a time when you're going to miss your family, your friends, the life you once belonged to? How do you know that now?
Because, and this is where I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but because I believe in her. And what's more, I believe in this place too.
You do not. This Highland voodoo town makes no more sense to you than it does to me. So how can you believe in it when you don't even understand it? When you leave here in a few weeks, or even a few days, you're going to forget all about it. That's the way a dream is.
What do you mean, dream?
That's what this is, a dream. Why, even now you think you're moved by it, but you're really not.
How do you know?
Because I do! Did you see that funeral here a moment ago?
Yeah? Why?
I'm responsible for it.
What do you mean?
Harry beat me. I killed him.
You did what?
I killed him. Accidentally, of course, but nevertheless, I killed him. Well, while you were out chasing after him, I just went back to have a drink, and before I even knew what happened, he was rushing past me from behind a bush. Without even thinking about what I was doing, I just stuck out my leg and tripped him. As he went down, I heard him hit his head on the rock with a very nasty thud.
Jeff, I'm so sorry.
What for?
You must feel half dead inside.
On the contrary, I don't feel a thing.
You really don't feel anything?
Nothing.
But why not?
Because this is a dream. A good one for you and a bad one for...
Wait a minute. Will you?
See, I've confused you, haven't I?
Yes, you have.
If you really thought you believed as much as you did, I couldn't do that. I'll wait for you outside the town.
Tommy? What did Jeff mean by that?
Fiona tells me you want to stay, lad.
I'm sorry, Fiona, but I can't stay. And it's not because I don't love you, because I think I do, but I just can't trust my own emotions.
You mean you're not sure you can accept everything?
That's about it, I guess.
You'd better hurry, Fiona. There's not much time left. Don't feel too ashamed of yourself, Tommy. 'Tis often the hardest thing in the world to give up everything, though usually 'tis the only way to get everything.
Do you understand it all?
Then you know, Tommy, that you're all I'm living for. So how can you go, Tommy, when I need you more and more?
But you won't remember it that way, and neither will I. You and the world we knew will glow till my life is through. For you're part of me from this day on. And someday if I should love, it's you I'll be dreaming of. For you're all I'll see from this day on. These hurried hours were all the life we could share. But still I will go with not a tear, just a prayer that when we are far apart, you'll find something from your heart has gone with me from this day on. You see, we mustn't be ashamed of anything.
I'm not. In fact, I think I'll be less lonely now than I was before you came. I think real loneliness is not being in love in vain, but not being in love at all.
But it'll fade in time.
No, Tommy, it wouldn't do that. All the years to come, and through all the tears to come, I know I'll be yours from this day on. Tommy, 'tis the end of our day.
I'm sorry, Fiona, but to stay, I had to have no fears and no doubts. And well, good. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Tommy. And don't forget, any day, any night, and always, I love ye. I love ye. I love ye. I love ye. I love ye.
What is this stuff, Frank? DDT?
It's the usual. Bourbon.
Why do you say the usual? Have I been drinking it long?
Continuously since you got back from Scotland 4 months ago.
Well, I just decided I don't like it. It's not near as good as the whiskey Mother used to make. Give me some gin.
All right, what do you have with it?
A little bourbon.
Yes, sir.
What time is it, Frank? My watch seems to have stopped.
It's 6:10.
Just about time for me to be heading home. Give me another one. I like to drink portal to portal.
It's just about time for Miss Ashton to call.
Miss who?
Jane Ashton, Mr. Albright's fiancée? Well, don't tell me you don't remember her.
All right. I won't. What about her?
Well, it's just about this time every day. She either comes in or calls, or both, looking for Mr. Albright.
She does, eh?
Yeah, and from what I can gather, she can't find him.
Huh. Thanks for the warning. I'll drink up and get out of here.
But don't you like Miss Ashton, sir?
Oh, very much. But not when she's stalking Mr. Albright.
But where is Mr. Albright?
You know, Frank, I don't know. He picked up his parcels about a month ago, quit his job, and vanished, like Brigadoon.
Like who?
Oh, that was the name of my brother who ran away.
Hi.
Hello, Mr. Albright. Nice to see you.
Tommy, my old friend Tommy.
How are you, Frank?
My old friend Tommy, he's back.
Jeff?
Where have you been all month, Tommy?
Up on a farm in New Hampshire.
On a farm? Messing around in all that dirty dirt? But why?
Because I was just enjoying myself. Coffee, Frank.
Well, if that's what you like, when you get married, why don't you buy one?
Because I don't think I'm getting married.
Oh.
Because my dear old Tank, I'm in love with someone else, and I cannot get over it. And because I can't be with her, then I can't be with anyone else. That's why I went away. Because there's so many things remind me of her. I might be with some people, and they might say just one word that sets up a memory for me. And all of a sudden, I'm 1,000 miles away with her. And slowly, I fade back into the conversation. They ask me a question, and I don't know what in the world they're talking about. Haven't heard a single word.
You must be fascinating company.
It's easier when I'm alone.
Tommy,
Jane.
Tommy, darling.
Hello, Jane.
What a surprise.
Hello, Jeff.
How have you been?
How have you been, Jane?
I've been worried half to death about you.
Fine. And you, Jeff?
Let me look at you.
I've had a little cold, but other than that,
I must say, you do look wonderful.
So do you, Jane.
well, I don't mean to eat and run, but I think I'll go up to my room and drink.
See you later, Jeff.
Hello.
Goodbye. Put it on my bill, Frank.
Your bill, sir, is awfully high.
So am I.
Tommy, why didn't you write me?
Oh, nothing much to say, I guess. Drink?
The usual. And why didn't you wire me you were coming in? After all, darling, I think the minute you get in town, you'd call me. Or come to me. Or in fact, why?
Kiss me good day, darling, my darling, 'tis all I can say. Just come to me, bend to me, kiss me
want to do that?
What? Maybe.
You mean you'd even consider it?
What?
Commuting from 60 miles out of New York.
Oh, no, I don't want to do that.
I didn't think so. And I told Mr. Jackson.
Who?
Herbert Jackson.
Oh, yes, Herbert Jackson. Who's he?
I just told you. He's the real estate man I've been working with. I told him you'd call me.
Oh, I can hardly wait.
Please do. I'm trying so hard to arrange everything. Do you still want Jeff to stand up for you?
Yes, if he can.
It's nothing. It's just that he's been so impossible these days. Everybody's bored to death with him.
Well, I don't care what everybody has to think, especially the everybody we know.
You've certainly been antisocial since you returned from Scotland. If you really want to avoid everybody, why don't we take Mr. Jackson's house? It's far away, and trot on the top of a high, beautiful hill that just looks
The heather on the hill, and when the mist is in the glow, man, and all the clouds are holding still, if you're not there, I won't go roaming through the heather on the hill, the heather on the.
No, Jane, no.
No what?
There's not going to be a wedding next month.
You mean you're postponing it again?
I'm not postponing it. I'm calling it off for good.
Calling it off?
I can't do it, ever.
You have a nerve. After all this time I've spent waiting for you and trying to be patient and putting up with your idiotic whims and temperament.
It's not you. You've been wonderfully kind to me, but something happened last month, and now I don't fit in here anymore.
I think you've gone clean out of your mind. But I will not sit here in this bar and argue with you. Let's go home and then we'll discuss it there.
Bonnie Jean, go home, go home. I'll go home with Bonnie Jean. Go home, go home, go home with Bonnie Jean. Go home, go home.
And if you think anyone else is going to put up with your nonsense, you're raving mad. So think of that, Mr. Albright, when you're all alone.
Real loneliness is not being in love in vain, but not being in love at all.
You understood, Fiona, and I didn't.
You walking through the heather when we were there together. That's all I'll see from this day on.
These hurried hours were all the life we could share. Still I will go with not a tear, just a prayer that
All the years to come and through, all the tears to come,
I know I'll be yours from this day on. Room 732, please. Hello, Jeff. Are you sober? I want to go back to Scotland. I know it's crazy, but we can get reservations tonight. I know, but I want to go. Do you hear me? I want to go! unbelievable. Awful and unbelievable.
What's awful and unbelievable?
That somewhere out there, between the mist and the stars, is somebody I want so terribly. She's not dead, just asleep. And yet I'll never see her ever again.
You came all the way over here to tell me that? You could have told me that on the phone in New York for a nickel.
No, I'll tell you why. Because she became so real to me that I had to come back so I could know for sure that the place still wasn't there.
It's not that way at all for me. I have to work hard just to convince myself it happened at all. It's just so much like a dream.
There's the big difference between you and I, Jeff.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Because I found out that sometimes what you believe in becomes more real to you than anything that you can understand or explain away. Gosh! Why do people have to lose what they really care about just to find out what it means?
Well, take one last look around and let's start walking. I got lost around here once.
Okay.
Tommy! Lad! Ye! My! He must really love her! He woke me up! Come, lad!
You shouldn't be too surprised, Tommy. After all, I told you, when you love someone deeply, anything is possible. Even miracles.